Welcome to the Conservative Viewpoint, where the truth always matters. Your host is Charlie, the country conservative. Now on with the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Conservative Viewpoint, your trusted source for conservative insight. I'm your host, Charlie, the country conservative.
And I'm Brendan Statler of The Brendan Statler Show.
Today we dive into a trifecta of critical conservative, and today we dive critical issues, and intersect on a global stage: China, fentanyl, and the brewing tension between Iran and Israel. First, let's talk about China, the dragon that breeds both economic prosperity and geopolitical challenges for years. China has been the leading supplier of fentanyl precursors, the very chemicals used to create the deadly synthetic opioid. It's a crisis that has ravaged American communities, leaving countless families shattered by addiction and loss. But in November of 2023, there was a glimmer of hope. China agreed to restart cooperation with the U.S. authorities to counter the flow of fentanyl into the United States. Well, that failed. Why? Well, strategic goals matter, and stabilizing the U.S.-China relationship became paramount. But let's not forget the role of us and the diplomacy and nudging China back to the tables. But now, let's pivot to the Middle East. Iran, a nation with a complex history, recently launched a direct military attack on Israel, the first time ever. The stakes are high, my friends. Israel's defenses are formidable, but at what cost? The region teeters on the edge, and the world watches closely. Will Israel respond with restraint or unleash a disproportionate toll? Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu remains resolute. Israel will make its own decision. Meanwhile, Hezbollah targets in Lebanon feel the heat as tensions escalate. And remember, this isn't just about Israel, it's about the broader Middle East chessboard. But wait, there's more. Iran's fingerprints are everywhere, from Gaza to Yemen. Their proxies wreak havoc. The U.S. presence in the region grows, and the delicate balance shifts. Congress is moving swiftly, pondering bipartisan action to hold Iran accountable for its actions. But the question looms: can international mediation efforts rein in the chaos? I doubt it. Porter, a key player, faces scrutiny. If they fail to apply pressure on Hamas, and the United States may reevaluate its relationship with them. So buckle up, listeners. The conservative viewpoint isn't afraid to tackle the tough questions. We'll dissect the headlines, challenge narratives, and bring you unvarnished truth. Because in the world of spin, we are your compass pointing toward clarity and liberty and unwavering principle. So stay tuned, Patriots. Our journey begins now. Welcome to the Conservative Viewpoint.
Okay, the jury is officially seated. A jury of 12 New Yorkers has been seated in President Donald Trump's historic hush money Soviet show trial in Manhattan. This comes after 2 impaneled jurors were dismissed Thursday morning and 7 new jurors were chosen by the afternoon. The jury is now made up of 7 men and 5 women because apparently that matters. Currently, the court is working to pick up 6 alternates. 1 has been seated so far. So it has been clear from the start that President Trump cannot get a fair trial in many of these blue cities, particularly New York and Washington, D.C., where he has cases pending. So what they're trying to do is to scare his supporters away still, even though that this process has not worked to this point, the Democrats and the deep state are nothing more than a caged animal at this point. They don't know what they're doing at this point. They have not read the signal that despite no matter how much they indict him, no matter how much they continue to go after him in court, his support only continues to grow. We've seen evidence of this. Just look at the bodega in New York where Trump appeared after he got out of his sham court hearing. There were supporters lining the streets chanting 4 more years in New York City. Democrats never thought that this was possible, but it is happening. And you see the contrast between the current illegitimate president, Joe Biden, who 2 days in a row here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania made an appearance at a Sheetz in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Nobody paid any attention to him. Nobody cared he was there. And there was a similar result today at a Wawa somewhere in Pennsylvania. I don't know which town exactly, not anywhere around here because we don't have those here.
Yeah.
But you see the contrast between the two candidates. We've been led to believe that Joe Biden got more votes than any presidential candidate in United States history, more votes than Barack Obama, the Jesus Christ of the Democrat Party. But yet nobody cares when he shows up to a gas station. Nobody goes to any of his events. It looked like there was probably 100 seats at his event in Scranton, and probably only 20 of them were filled with media and DNC donors. But yet Donald Trump has a sort of pop-up rally in the middle of a field, and thousands upon thousands of supporters show up. And even when he goes to a bodega in New York, hundreds of people just show up and line the streets and chant 4 more years for President Trump. The tide is turning. Many of these blue cities, including New York City, are much in play for President Trump.
Well, I just got a email or a text that said that former President Donald Trump was told by the judge to stop using his phone in court. You believe that bullshit?
That's hilarious. I heard he actually answered his phone in court. I don't know if that's true. Like somebody called him and he answered it.
Maybe that's what it was from, because the judge told him he couldn't use it. So
I hope that is true, because that
came in the news break.
That's great.
So, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
So hi everyone.
I
I
hope
hope you had an excellent Thursday. We have a packed show for you tonight. So first off, I want you not to forget, follow us on Rumble. Mine is Country Conservative. Give us a thumbs up. Brendan's is Brendan Statler Show. Give it the thumbs up in the Rumble chat, and give us some good comments. It helps our channels grow. Don't forget to follow us and everything. If you're on YouTube, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Wherever you're at tuning in from, whatever social media sites you're on, we're on 6 different ones. Like them, share our videos with your friends and family, because this is so important. We're getting close to election time, and we want to make sure we get the truth out to people and get the news out to show everything. Like Brendan said, nobody was running up to Joe Biden wanting pictures or anything. So This is why we do this. We got to get the truth out. We got to keep people informed, because we're so close to November 5th and everything that's going on, especially with some of the stuff that we'll be talking about tonight. People need to wake up and see this stuff, because the corruption is just beyond anything we've ever seen. So, and I've been around for 38 or 39 years of elections, and this is the worst I've ever seen it. So it's so important. So please share our videos, follow us, get our reach out a little bit further tonight. So let's kick this off with a House committee finds that the Chinese government pushes fentanyl materials fueling the drug crisis in the United States. First thing, I'm going to let you listen to this video. It's about a 1-minute video about the fentanyl crisis. And that one didn't come up too well because it's so small, but I want you to listen to what they have talk about with the Chinese and They're the ones that are killing like 300 people a day with this stuff. So listen to this.
Meantime, a new report from the House Select Committee on the Chinese Communist Party says China is funding the U.S. fentanyl crisis. According to the report, China is using tax rebates to subsidize the manufacturing and export of fentanyl materials, awarding grants to companies openly trafficking in the narcotic, economically benefiting from the ongoing epidemic, and more. Those are only 3 of the investigation's findings. So with us tonight for more on this is U.S. Congressman and House Select Committee on the Chinese Communist Party ranking member Raja Krishnamurthy. Congressman, thank you for joining Last Call tonight. Tell me what you found, first of all, in this report.
Well, I think a couple of statistics just jump out at you. One is that 97% of all illicit fentanyl that arrives in the U.S. comes from China. That's one. The second is there were 0 reported deaths related to fentanyl in China, but there were more than 110,000 fentanyl-related deaths in the U.S.
So you see what I'm talking about. Oh, that's I got to look at that. But this is the latest evidence that China has one thing and done another. They've said one thing and done another. But did you hear him say 0 deaths from fentanyl in China? So what's that tell you? That this was a plan to kill off Americans the easiest way. Instead of going into direct war and conflict with us, they could just send the drugs over and kill all of us off.
That's
So
exactly what it is.
Yeah. So a new detail on Tuesday detailed the Communist Party's role in the fentanyl crisis plaguing our country. The details finding in the House investigation conclude the Chinese government subsidizes, you believe that, and the manufacturing and export of fentanyl materials and refuses to crack down on their illicit market. The report released by the House Subcommittee on Chinese Communist Party coincides with public hearing with former Attorney General Bill Barr, former DEA Chief of Operations Ray Donovan, and the expert Rand Search organization. The evidence shows that China continues to subsidize people and gives them money to make sure that they get this stuff over here, and tax rebates to domestic companies that manufacture and export the illegal narcotics, including fentanyl and similar chemicals. Now, they don't bring the actual drug here, but the chemicals to make the drug. Now, these rebates alone have had a significant impact on the amount of fentanyl and fentanyl-like substances exported abroad, specifically in the United States. Studies have cited that the committee found that more than average every percent point increased in the VAT rebate for a product exports increased by 13%. So all these Chinamen that are coming over here, are they bringing all this material with them? Because most of them aren't even getting caught. So, however, the new report of Congress shows that China has previously said one thing while doing another. Well, no duh. China is our enemy. They're not going to tell you the truth. And this Biden administration, they believe it. They're so pathetic. How do you even trust our government, to protect us if they can't even see that, our enemies are lying to them?
Well, they're not protecting us. Matter of fact, they're on the same team. This is exactly why the border is open. This is why they refuse to shut down the border, because they are working with the Chinese Communist Party to kill Americans with fentanyl. This is, like I said, I probably say it every show. People are probably getting tired of me saying it. It is destroying from within. It is poisoning the well. They are destroying this country from within. That is why Biden's policies seem so radical, because they are. Biden is bought and paid for by China, along with many other of the politicians in Washington on both sides of the aisle. And this is why you're seeing everything that you're seeing: the open border, the endless spending that is just driving inflation through the roof and crippling the middle class. This is all by design. So, of course, that these Chinamen that are coming over, that happen to be military-age fighting men, by the way, are bringing drugs over or ingredients to make fentanyl. Of course they are. And of course they're not going to get caught, because even if they were to get caught, they'd be released immediately and the press wouldn't cover it. So people would have really no way of knowing. So they're all on the same team. As I said, this is not incompetence. This is intentional. Every single thing these people do, it is intentional.
Yep. And I wanted to let you guys know in chat, if you're in Rumble chat and you see the link in the chat, if you want and have a question and you want to join in on the conversation, you must have a webcam so we can see your face. We don't play those games that you cover your face up. If you're a Biden supporter, and you want to come on, you want to ask a question or make a comment, that's fine. Click the link and we'll take one at a time for your questions. And we'll try to get you an answer for your questions if you'd like. If you don't want to come on live, you can leave a question in the chat section and we'll still answer your questions. So feel free. So now we're going to go into former NATO chief General Wesley Clark to Newsmax. Biggest fear is a nuclear Iran. So that is the biggest problem that everybody is concerned about. That seems to be a problem from everybody in the past, especially Donald Trump, which curbed Iran's nuclear intentions. But as soon as Joe Biden was installed into the White House like a toilet, he gave Iran access to billions of dollars, and they continue to fund terrorism. They restarted their nuclear program. And what shows the weakness in the patheticness of the Biden and the Biden administration is letting them have access to this after Trump had it stopped. Now, Iran's president vows a massive response if Israel launches the tiniest of invasions. Now, if Israel retaliates, it will not be an invasion like people were saying, because it'll be protecting themselves and their people, because Iran has already committed a terrorist attack by shooting off like 350 missiles. And for what reason? But I want you to watch this video. It's only about 39 seconds of Iran's response to Israel after they were attacked, after they attacked Israel out of nowhere. So I want you to watch this.
Iran is reportedly getting an arsenal of weapons from Russia, including anti-aircraft launchers and fighter jets, as Iranian officials threaten to fire weapons it has never used before in a, quote, severe, extensive, and painful response to even the, quote, slightest action by Israel. Abul Fazl Amouhi, a spokesman for the Iranian Parliament National Security Committee, said the country will, quote, confront any Israeli aggression and respond to it. He said, quote, we are ready to use weapons that we have not used before. Separately, Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi warned that if Israel takes even the, quote, slightest action, it will force a, quote, severe, extensive, and painful response.
Yeah, and I hope you understood all that, because I couldn't understand them talking, but I could get to the end of it where they're going to have a painful response. Well, they already tried that.
Was that John Fetterman reading that?
Yeah, it could have been, because I couldn't even tell. But now, what is Iran thinking? Israel's just going to sit back and go, oh, fire all the rockets you want, and we're just going to sit here like little bitches and take it. No,
yeah,
that's what Joe Biden would do.
Yeah, look at the history of Israel. Israel's a tough nation. Israel is surrounded by countries that have been trying to wipe it off the face of the planet, pretty much ever since the beginning of time. And of course, they've never been successful. That's why Israel has, they've always had to fight. They've always been a tough nation. You attack Israel, you better expect there's going to be hell to pay, because there has for everybody else in the past, all throughout history. I actually think that it is mandatory in the country of Israel. Every male, once they become an adult, you have to enlist in the military. You have to serve in the military. I believe I heard that somewhere. I don't know if that's 100% correct, but it wouldn't surprise me coming out of a country like Israel, because like I said, the countries that surround them have been trying to wipe them out since the beginning of time. So Israel is one of the last countries you want to mess with. They're a small nation, but man, they are tough. They are fighters. So Iran is the one that initiated this attack. Hamas is the one that initiated this war. They knew what they were getting into when they bombed Israel last year, when they attacked Israel last year. Did they really think that they were going to attack Israel and Israel was not going to respond? That's unbelievable if they really think that. And it's unbelievable for people like Joe Biden to tell another leader that he does not support him defending his own country. And like I said, that's the type of response you could expect from President Oatmeal Brains Biden, as Bongino calls him, Oatmeal Brains.
Mm-hmm.
If we are attacked here in the United States, God forbid, there will not be any retribution whatsoever. We still haven't gotten retribution for the 13 soldiers that were killed in Afghanistan by the Taliban because of his disastrous withdrawal. So God forbid we are ever attacked here, especially at this time when we have the weakest leader we could possibly have.
Now, it does got to make you think, how would demented Joe Biden and the Biden administration handle if we were attacked by terrorists? I believe they would let it happen and do nothing about it.
I do too.
We've got Anthony Blinken here that cautions against hasty retaliation by Israel. But I'm sorry, if you were attacked by a terrorist, you should go back at them. You attack them, you take care of them, and you do not stop until you wipe them out. They don't learn the lesson, because if you let them keep living, and they'll just do it again. That's all there is. So what do you think in chat? What do you think? Would you do nothing, or would you retaliate until they learn their lesson? Let me know in chat if you have a thing. But now we got Israel's response.
Yeah, it should be common sense, by the way. Just say real quickly, if someone's trying to kill you, why wouldn't you kill them first? It's common sense. That's like somebody breaking into your house and you do nothing. They're chasing you around the house with a knife. What are you gonna do? It's the same principle when it comes to war.
I would have got that video on Twitter. I saw that this liberal idiot talking about guns, and he was crying like a little bitch, yelling at the top of his lungs. And I wanted to show that just because he's screaming, "You got them guns out here!" And he was a moron. It was hilarious.
Was his voice very high pitched, like his nuts didn't drop yet?
Oh yeah, I don't even think he had any.
Okay.
But yeah, it was that. But anyways, we got Israel's response because of Blinken telling them, "Don't be hasty, the little cowards that they are." That what makes me think that Joe Biden would not do a damn thing if we got a terrorist attack, which is going to happen, unfortunately, because of Joe Biden and the open southern border. But let's watch Israel's response.
We are closely assessing the situation. We remain at our highest level of readiness. Iran will face the consequences for its actions. We will choose our response accordingly. The IDF remains ready to counter any threat from Iran and its terror proxies as we continue our mission to defend the State of Israel.
Israel has a history of employing cyber attacks against its adversaries, targeting Iran's nuclear and missile programs, as well as its public infrastructure. These clandestine strikes have allowed Israel to deliver a message without openly escalating the conflict. Tehran also has options. It could unleash its proxies on US forces, use them to strike Israel directly, or ramp up its nuclear program that the United States and allies have long sought to restrain. Clearly, the clock is ticking. All eyes are on Israel's response to Iran's aggression.
Now, see, I believe Israel should respond and protect its people at all costs, unlike our pathetic Joe Biden that would do nothing like he does now and lets every country, even our enemies, walk all over us. This is why this election is so important. We have to have somebody in the office that will protect the American people, from terrorists and invasions like the southern border. That's why we need Donald Trump back in the White House as soon as we can get him back in there.
Yeah, and like we've talked about before, Charlie, this is the easiest thing that you could impeach Joe Biden on. He's guilty of many things, but what is happening at the southern border is an invasion.
Yep.
And there is actually a constitutional amendment. I'm going to look it up real quick and confirm. I think it's Section 14, Article 14, Section 14. I'll look it up and confirm it, and I'll read what it says word for word. But it says that the president is supposed to secure the nation and protect the citizens from invasion, and Joe Biden has failed on that. It is clear he has failed on it. We see it every day. How many people on the terrorist watch list that we know of have come over the border, and Joe Biden still continues to do nothing? This is an invasion. He should have been impeached on this as soon as the Republicans took the House. But instead, they want to have all these hearings where they're not going to do a damn thing, that just so they can go on Fox News on Sean Hannity's show every night and act like they're working so hard on behalf of the people so they could get reelected. Unfortunately, a lot of these people will get reelected because there are too many gullible Republican voters still, unfortunately. But this is the easiest thing they could have gone on. And, you know, it is unfortunate because it is very likely that we could see another 9/11 style attack here in the United States. And we are in the most vulnerable position we have been in quite some time, if ever, honestly. That we're in very bad shape right now. If we get attacked, God help us all.
And we're getting it, and I'm no Chuck Ray fan or Christopher Ray fan of the FBI, but he is telling us, and it could be just a fear factor because elections are here, or it could be the truth. But they are seeing terrorists, Chinamen, drug cartels, everything coming across these borders. And MS-13 gang members, they're seeing all these gangs from different countries come across, and they can't find the Chinamen that come across. And they were most all military-aged males that come across it. And they said like 26,000. So where the hell are all these people? They know of terrorist cells popping up across the country, our country. So these people are doing this for a reason. They're not just coming here because they are not being productive citizens of our country. They don't want to get a driver's license. They don't want a social security number. They don't want to go and swear on the Bible that, I'll protect and defend the Constitution, or whatever the hell they say when you become a citizen. These are people that want to hurt us. And
right. And yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
But you're right. Look at that asshole on TikTok that was arrested recently, actually, and is probably out now.
Not the houses.
The guy. Well, yeah, he made one about the houses too, saying how he doesn't work, he doesn't pay child support, any of this stuff, because he has an anchor baby. His infant daughter was born in the United States, so they can't get rid of him. So, and he's talking about how he's living off the American taxpayer, and he's encouraging others to do the same. There are a lot of these people in here that are doing that. But I want to read. I did find the part of the Constitution that talks about invasion, and this is Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution, and it says this: the United States shall guarantee to every state in the Union a Republican form of government, and shall protect each of them against invasion. Joe Biden has failed to uphold his oath to the Constitution, the oath that everyone takes when they are sworn into political office. He is provably guilty on many things, but this is the one that is most obvious. There should have been articles of impeachment day one from the House Republicans once they took the House. But of course, they didn't. We have to have all these hearings so they could go on Fox News and act like they're working so hard. Republicans are a joke.
Don't get me started on that because I'm tired of seeing we're holding a hearing on this, we're holding a hearing on that. And I think I have something about that here coming up. But first off, we're going to go with Ukraine, Israel. Aid supposed to be hitting the floor of the House here this week. But problem is, this doesn't have anything in there about securing our border.
Nope. Go
Now,
figure.
the bill should fail just because of that reason. Now, I'm talking about closing our border, shutting it down, starting to deport these illegal criminals that are here already, stop giving our taxpayer money to other countries to secure their borders, and do nothing for us. Now, I got a quick video here about the House and their aid package. So I want you to take a look at this. It's about, it's only 39 seconds.
I mean, Iran is selling this stuff to Russia. Guess who's buying Iran's energy? China. And you know why? Because we lifted or waived the sanctions that we had, this administration, on the drones and the missiles and on the energy. This is giving them $100 billion in cash to fund their terror operations. And that's why we're seeing this.
Okay, but you still don't have a commitment from the Republican Speaker of the House to vote on what you say is a Republican priority. That has to drive you mad here. Do you expect to get an answer when you talk to the Speaker tonight?
I have a commitment that it will come to the floor. My preference is
when?
This week.
Well, that's what he's saying. Now, I don't know how much to believe these politicians. Now, my opinion is securing our border. That should be first and foremost, no matter what happens. But I guess we'll see.
Absolutely.
Supposedly, according to him, this week it's going to come up. But and I did see an article with Marjorie Taylor Greene, and I didn't get to read it. And it's supposedly they're going to add some more stuff in with this bill. And
Yeah,
supposedly it's going to have something. I don't know.
I saw one thing on Twitter, and I don't know how true it is because, like I said, you can't believe most stuff you see on social media. So, but it will be interesting if this is true. Supposedly, like I said, I have not confirmed this yet, so I have no idea if this is true. But supposedly, Marjorie Taylor Greene is trying to put something in this current Ukraine bill, saying that every member that votes for this has to enlist in the Ukrainian military. Now that's not going to go anywhere if that's true, but I thought that was pretty funny. Assuming that is true, I could see Marjorie Taylor Greene doing something like that. I don't know if that's true though. But this bill is going to pass, unfortunately, because the Republicans are weak. They're on the same side as the Democrats. They're never going to do anything to secure our border. They're just going to hold hearings where they talk about the border and bitch about it and act like they're, so appalled at everything that we as Americans really are appalled to. They're not going to do anything. This bill is going to pass, and they're going to send more money to Ukraine. We're just going to continue to send money to Ukraine. Then we'll send money to Israel and as well as Hamas, and probably even send money to Russia, but we'll hide that because we can't have that getting out in the media because that goes against the whole narrative of, Russia's this evil superpower in the world. So not that I'm saying Russia's good, but you understand what I'm saying. They're not the most evil power in the world. That's for sure. But unfortunately it's going to pass. We've been screwed too many times by the Republicans, and it's a shame that we're kind of stuck where we're at right now.
We got to stay where we're at.
We don't have an option, and this is the argument I've made before. We need to politically purge both parties. We need to have two strong parties. Like, I want to see the Republican Party get cleaned up again. Honestly, I want to see the Democrat Party get cleaned up too, because we can't keep voting along party lines. We can't just vote for a party. That is how we have gotten into the trouble we are in today, because many of the working class over how many generations voted Democrat because their father voted Democrat, their grandfather voted Democrat. They were union workers, and the unions always back the Democrats and still back them to this day, by the way.
Well, I was a Democrat because I was raised that way.
Right. And so were both my parents and my grandparents. My whole family were Democrats. They all voted for Bill Clinton, I know, and now none of them could stand the Clintons, which is kind of funny. But I'm going to look at the chat here real quick. It says, I don't know who this is from, but it says, notice, is that Harold? Okay.
Mhm.
It says, notice it says in Article 4, Section 4, guarantee a Republican government. But white Biden is in violation of the Constitution by trying to save democracy when we are a republic, not a democracy. That's absolutely
Exactly
right. But this is the problem we've gotten into with both these parties, because people were blindly voting Democrat because they were Democrats. They weren't paying attention to who they were voting for, and we started to get into that problem with Republicans. We need both parties to get claimed. That's the only way you really save America. But it has to start with the Republic.
That's the problem nowadays, because people are voting party, not listening to what's going on in the country.
No,
they're just voting
that's exactly right.
And because they hear Trump is a bad man and he says mean tweets on the internet, so I'm not voting for him. Somebody said he was a racist, so I'm going to believe that shit.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Like I said, if Donald Trump were a Democrat, had the same exact policies, but was a Democrat, I would still support Trump. I don't give a shit what party is in charge. I don't care what party is in charge. But unfortunately, the Democrat Party is too far gone, so we have no choice to go with Republicans. But it is frustrating that we keep having to support these people in a way just because they're the lesser of two evils. Hopefully we as Americans get back to a little bit of sanity, and we could get two legitimate parties that we could actually vote for, because right now we don't have that, and that's the whole problem. We're battling the uniparty. This is not Democrat versus Republican anymore. This is national populism versus elite globalism. People need to start looking at it that way.
Now, if you're listening to my show, or if you watched my show live yesterday, I was a Democrat for 38 years. So when you people hear me talking, I've got a lot of background here, and I've dealt with a lot, and I've been screwed over by the Democrat Party, and that's why I left. Not because of Trump. It's because I saw and woke up to see what kind of corruption, and I voted, believe it or not, I voted for Obama the first time until I saw what kind of racial divide he was turning this country into. Believe that shit? Me. Yes, I voted for Obama. And that's hard for me to admit right now, because we got
you voted for him because you for one, you thought Michelle Obama was cute, and you really like Biden. You thought Biden was a cool guy.
She always had a bigger bulge than her husband, so he was always jealous of him.
Well, that's not saying much. Most actual women have a bigger bulge than Obama.
Oh yeah, well that's true. He has to untie his, so Michelle picks him up by it or something. So okay. But now we're going to get on to I gotta get back up here to where I'm at. So
we got another chat comment here. It's from Harold again. The Republican Party has been infiltrated by socialists, and the Democrat Party has been infiltrated by communism. And that started happening 70 years ago.
I can believe that.
Right.
I can believe that.
It's just full blown and in your face now. They were better at hiding it until recently.
Right. Now we're going to get into Joe Biden is caught with his cheat sheets again. Camera catches Biden's cheat sheet for a meeting with Iraqi prime minister. For one, I want to know why he's having a meeting with Iraq, because Iraq is still not our friend. So, but he's still having a meeting with them. But it shows how embarrassing for him. He has to have direction to guide him everything that he does. But first, I wanted to let you see this short video about the cheat sheet that he has in his hand. So, and we'll come back and we'll talk about it after this. So watch this.
During a meeting with Iraqi Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani on 15th of April, President Joe Biden was observed referencing a cheat sheet, also known as a crib sheet, containing some scripted comments which he made later. This marked his first statement after Iran's recent attack on Israel. The script included instruction on when to pause, for translation, indicating an already prepared approach for the conversation. During a Monday meeting in the Oval Office with the Prime Minister of Iraq, Biden was seen again watching the crib sheet again and again. Biden, aged 81, made his first public remark after Iran launched an unprecedented direct attack and drone over Israel over the weekend. According to the script, it also included all stage directives on when to pause, when to say, and all his remarks, even to allow the interpreter to translate. The president, who was seated next to the Iraqi PM, Mohammad Shia al-Sudani, kept glancing down at the script again and again, making it quite awkward.
Now, you tell me that man doesn't look like he's confused 24/7. He looks like an active Walking Dead zombie. How pathetic.
Yeah, the video didn't play on my end, but I didn't want to say anything because we went through this before and it did end up playing. It just didn't play on my end for whatever reason. So if somebody could let us know in the chat if they saw that. But I did see this video before. So, but yeah, Biden, looks incredibly weak, like he has, ever since he's been installed into the White House. Well, really before that, during his whole campaign from the basement. This is why nobody takes us seriously. This guy needs cue cards for everything. He needs cheat sheets for everything. I don't think this guy is capable of taking a piss without someone giving him directions. This guy is hands down the worst person to ever occupy the White House. It's not just Americans that see it. It's all around the world. You play stuff from Sky News in Australia all the time. We are being laughed at around the globe. People want to beat up Donald Trump for saying this, but it's absolutely true. We are a joke right now on the world stage. The United States is being laughed at by every country around the world. And how could you not if you're outside this country and you see that this is the guy that's supposed to be speaking on behalf of us? Of course, the rest of the world thinks that we're a bunch of idiots if they, believe that we really voted for this guy. Well, we all know we didn't. But if you're outside the United States, you're looking at this and you're saying, geez, America is a joke. I mean, so people get mad at Trump for saying that because he's been criticized by the fake news media for constantly saying that we're a joke right now. Well, we are. When you got that guy, it's the current face of your nation. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke.
How pathetic is it when a man can't even talk without being told what to say? So now if you're married, you know what I'm talking about, right, guys? Just kidding, ladies. Every step that this man takes is written down so he knows what to do and where to go, but he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. There's got to be a way to make this man and force him to take a cognitive test. You can't run a country and be in this kind of shape that he's in. So if anyone in chat knows how, or anybody watching knows how we can get this man to take a cognitive test, please let us know in chat or leave a comment, because this is just the latest string of episodes in which Biden is instructed where to stand, what to say, and that has left him being dubbed the commander-in-chief, even by the New York Post. This is how Joe Biden shows his weakness on the world stage. And come November, this has to end. So that's why we tell you on all of our videos, please get out and vote. We have no other choice but to get these Democrats out of power so we can regain the country back and get it back on track to where it needs to be.
Yeah, we're kind of in a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation, in the sense that if we were to somehow remove Biden from office because he's clearly unfit to be president, then we're stuck with Kamala Harris, which is just as bad, if not worse, if it could possibly be any worse. So the only way you get rid of this is you vote for Donald Trump in November. You want this to stop? Donald Trump is the only option. I don't care if you hate the sound of his voice. Seeing his face on TV makes you sick. You hate everything about him. If you hate what's going on in this country right now, you vote Donald Trump. That's all there is to it. That's the only way out of this.
Now I'm going to just rush through this this one real quick here because I got to get to the next segment on here. But the Supreme Court is letting Idaho enforce its ban on gender treatments for minors. Now, finally, somebody is waking up and taking action against the mental illness in this country. And that is what it is. It's called the trans movement, and that is a mental illness. Now, I want you to hear a quick video on this one. It's only 58 seconds about the Supreme Court's and letting them hold this ban. Let me know if you guys hear this video or not, or see the video.
The U.S. Supreme Court is allowing Idaho's ban on gender-affirming care for minors to be enforced. Devin Dwyer is outside the court with more. Hey there, Devin.
Stephanie, the court did not weigh in on the merits of the law, but the conservative majority said it can now be enforced while a lawsuit goes forward. Idaho's law would punish doctors with up to 10 years in prison if they provide puberty blockers or hormone therapy to transgender kids under the age of 18. It has been challenged by 2 families seeking that care. The court did say they can continue to receive the care as this goes forward, but Idaho now joins 20 other states in severely restricting gender-affirming treatments that, over the guidance of major American medical associations, the court's 3 liberal justices said they would have kept the law temporarily on hold with the expectation that some point in the future they will hear this case. Stephanie?
Thank you so much, Devin. Devin Dwyer for us at the Supreme Court.
Now, you guys might have a different opinion than I do on this, but I'm sorry. Some people playing pretend and pretending that they're something they're not. You just don't wake up one day and say, well, I'm a car today, or I'm a horse and I'm a sheep. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't happen that way. It's all pretend. It's a mental illness. If you truly believe that you are something you're not, you have a mental problem and you need to get the help. Finally, somebody's going to stick up and do this.
Yeah, it's absolutely a mental problem, and these people need some serious help instead of affirmation like we have done to this point. You know, isn't this what guys used to do to get out of the military? They would dress up as a woman. What was that one character's name? Was it MASH? Was it the TV show MASH?
Klinger.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a mental disorder, and there's absolutely no reason. And I've seen a few of these signs. Every time I see them, I just want to go nuts on the people at this house when I see them that says protect trans kids. There's no such thing as trans kids. Anyone that indoctrinates their kids with this, especially anybody that lets their child be mutilated, should be put to death. They should get the death penalty.
Well, I know definitely serious about this.
Because this is just think about this for a minute. You can't drink alcohol until you're 21. You can't buy a pack of cigarettes till you're 21 now. You can't get a tattoo until you're an adult. You can't buy a gun until you're an adult or 21, depending on what kind of gun. But you could take puberty blockers, cut off your genitalia. Like what? How do people not see something really wrong with this? Because once you transition, yes, you can go back, you could detransition, but you're never the same after that. You were completely screwed from that point. I mean, look at the suicide rate. This is one thing they will never say. Look at the suicide rate among quote unquote trans teens, because they regret their decision because they didn't have an adult in their life to tell them not to do it. Instead, these parents let them do it because, simply, excuse the term, they're attention whores. They just want to be part of a group. So they let their kids do it, and sometimes they even pressure their kids into doing it. Anyone that allows their kid to do that should get the death penalty.
Well, not only that, when I was still working at the prison, they made a law up that a murderer, if they convicted or if they committed their murder while they were a juvenile, they were allowed to appeal their case again. If they ran out of appeals, they were allowed to appeal their case again, because they stated that anyone that is a minor and committed an offense of murder, their brain was not developed to know enough the difference between right and wrong. So if you're 17 and you commit a murder, they're saying that your brain is not developed enough to understand that you committed a murder, but you weren't mentally there. So there was a chance that you're going to get out of prison because your brain wasn't mature enough to understand you did something wrong. And believe it or not, a couple of the inmates that worked for me actually got out of prison because of that. Because their brain wasn't fully developed enough to understand right from wrong. I'm not saying that's true, but this is the law that they made. So if you're going to say a 17-year-old murderer wasn't mentally capable of understanding what he did wrong, how are you going to say a 3-year-old can go get his nuts cut off and it's okay? Disgusting ass parents is what it is. That's a problem with them. But let's get on to this one.
That's exactly it.
This is the one that if you guys have not heard this yet, about Bill Maher and the idiot that he is. And Bill Maher on abortion, if you haven't heard this video, and it's a murder and he's okay with it, and I am going to let you hear this come right out of his stupid ass mouth. I never found the man funny to begin with, but this is it, and you watch the expression on his panel's face when he says this. Watch this.
None of you believe it's murder. You know, that's why I don't understand the 15-week thing. Or the Trump's plan is, let's leave it to the states. You mean, so killing babies is okay in some states? Like, I can respect the absolutist position. I really can. I scold the left. I'm not seeing this one either. Say, oh, you know what? They just hate women. None of you believe it's murder.
Out there.
That's why I don't understand the 15-week thing. Or the Trump's plan is, let's leave it to the states. You mean, so killing babies is okay in some states? Like, I can respect the absolutist position. I really can. I scold the left on when they say, oh, you know what? They just hate women. People who aren't pro-life, pro-choice. They don't hate women. They just made that up. They think it's murder. And it kind of is. I'm just okay with that. I am. I mean, there's 8 billion people in the world. I'm sorry, we won't miss you. That's my position on it. What?
That's quite harsh, Bill.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not
Is that not your position if you're pro-choice?
Isn't that mainly because you don't like children? I mean,
yeah,
no,
exactly.
no. I mean, but if you are, you said you're pro-choice. That's your position too.
Did you notice how stunned his panel was when he said this shit? I don't find him funny one bit about this. I find him being a total idiot. He should be removed from the airways. You don't say shit on there like this and say murder is okay. This is what you get in a Democrat-run cities when they say that you're not going to be arrested for certain crimes. What has happened since this idiot Democrat-run cities have told their people that about the crime and that they're not going to be charged for, and crime has went through the roof. Now these idiot criminals need to hear one person say it like this fool and say it's okay to do it, so they're going to go out and do it. Just out of spite, just because they know they're not going to get arrested for something. This is the kind of stuff that needs to stop immediately. And these Hollywood piss ants, they need to stay out of politics. Now, you do realize that Democrats are wanting abortions up until birth. So in this case, you can say any other words that the baby would be executed after birth. So you will always remember that Democrats are the radicals of abortion. This is why we have to get them out of power come November election, period.
Yeah, and Mark Levin on Fox News actually went through this on his show. I believe it was Sunday, where he was talking about the partial birth abortion process, and he was reading it. I think it was something that a doctor wrote. I'd have to go back and watch it, but he was reading an article or something basically describing it, how this is done, and it is pretty gruesome. Basically, they cut the baby with scissors and they vacuum its brains out after it's partially out of the mother. I mean, there is like we talked about before, I understand if you have to get an abortion because you're raped or it's a threat to your health. There is no reason under any circumstance that we should be doing partial birth abortions. That shouldn't be political. That just, as a human being, that should make you sick. I mean, there's no good reason to do something like that. It's honestly sad that we're at this point that we have to say that you shouldn't be killing babies for no reason. Like, it's just, this is demonic what we are against right now. It's just sad how far that we've gone into this. It's beyond crazy. It needs to stop, and it needs to stop now.
Yeah, but when you got idiots like him in here and saying, you know, he's okay with murder and all this crap, and this is what the pathetic Democrats have been doing these past three, and actually they've been doing it the whole time. You know, the Democrats are known for violence and pathetic, and most of this, unfortunately, is for votes. They say this stuff to appease people just so they can get the votes and stay in power. This is so pathetic, it's unreal. I just can't fathom this anymore. And then when I saw this about him doing and saying that crap, and it's like, I had to get this on here. If you guys haven't seen that video, it's pathetic. And this is what we're seeing every day in this country, and it's got to stop.
Well, this is the consensus among leftists. You know, they don't value life whatsoever. You know, that they want to use abortion. They don't believe that abortion is really healthcare. What it comes down to with a lot of these people, they want to be whores essentially and not have any responsibility. I mean, that's what it comes down to. They just want to, sleep with whoever and, not have the responsibility of taking care of a child because they were irresponsible. That's what it comes down to. None of these people really believe that abortion is healthcare because nobody is talking about banning abortion completely. We're just saying it should not be used as a form of birth control. If you're going to kill your unborn child, you should have a good reason to. And these leftists know that, but like I said, they don't care. They want to sleep with whoever and not face any of the consequences that may come after. That's what it comes down to.
That's right. Okay, thank you for tuning in to the Conservative Viewpoint. As we wrap up today's episode, let's reflect the recent events in the Middle East. The tension between Iran and Israel has escalated, with Iran launching unprecedented drones and missile attacks on Israel on their soil. Israel's response remains a critical concern as officials worry about the potential for a wider regional conflict. Joe Biden has emphasized that the U.S. commitment to Israel's defense, but expresses concern about being drawn into a broader war. What's he worried about? He started all these freaking wars to begin with. So some critics argue that Biden's handling of foreign policies has left the Middle East teetering on the brink of his administration's strategy has been questioned. And there are concerns about appeasement policies that may embolden American enemies. And that is no lie there. Biden lets our enemies get away with stuff they shouldn't be getting away with. So in these uncertain times, we must remain vigilant and informed. As always, stay tuned for further updates from the Conservative Viewpoint. Thank you for joining us on this journey, but I want to remind you to tune in tomorrow, 6 p.m. for another great episode of the Conservative Viewpoint. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up, follow button, and like, subscribe anywhere, whatever you're at right now. It helps our channels grow. So until tomorrow, I'm Charlie, the Country Conservative, signing off. Good night, everyone.
I'm Brendan Statler. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow night. God bless.